Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the 44th episode in the War in the East series. Let's get a situation report. It's the third week in January. This video will encompass two turns, turn 84 and 85. Turn 84 was a lot of cleanup and moving our forces back to the front. Turn 85 was similar in nature, although we did resume the offensive in during this week, turn 85, in certain places along the front. So let's get a situation report, and before I forget, let's go to the order of battle. Soviets still hanging around 6 million plus, and their tanks right around 9,000 plus. They are receiving reinforcements and new formations are appearing. However, I believe we're ahead of the curve with the damage we've done to them in 1942, and we'll continue that into 1943. The Germans right around 4 million as well. And I like this number, 7,500 tanks. That's a healthy number, almost as much as the Soviets. So our panzer forces are are maybe even growing and getting stronger with the new Tigers and Panthers to be arriving later in 43 in our upgraded PC4s and PC3s, which really saw a lot of action throughout the war, even though they were an older model, continuously upgraded. All right. Oh, let's get to losses as well. So, not that many attacks. We did attack throughout the front, but they were localized here and there, and there was no larger encirclements to cause significant losses to the Soviets during this turn. However, we did get over 100,000, cause over 100,000 Soviet losses, and that is the result of the pockets we finished off down in Army Group South area of operations, and tank losses not so high. So it was a not the greatest offensive turn last week or this week. However, we are back, getting our forces back to the front, and really, once you see down in Army Group South, we are arraying a devastating force that I believe the Soviets will not be able to contend with. All right, so Talonin. Let's start with Talonin. Talonin held out again. We didn't attack on during turn 84 because it was mud, if you remember, but we did attack and they didn't budge. We barely reduced their fort level 4%. Yeah, that could be the last battle. You know, forget about the siege of Leningrad or Sevastopol. This is the siege of Talonin. All right, so the bulk of Army Group North is assembled here, along with fairly strong infantry divisions along this part of the front, which occasionally attack to disrupt the Soviets, where we have the advantage and we feel we get a good combat resolution. We did encircle a handful of Soviets here, and also pushing forward, getting our infantry divisions up to the front where they can attack, and it's been a while. It's been 3 to 4 weeks to just even get to this, and they're still even not in place yet. But we will continue to attack. We have one more week of blizzard weather in January, and then we have February. Likely we will have a mud turn in one of the Soviet zones again. But if not, we'll have at least 5 more turns of offensive operations during the blizzard conditions before we reach the turns, the time of the year where mud is going to more likely arrive. All right, so this is what it's looking like here. What we want to do is find weak spots along this front, exploit them, break through, and gradually grind our way towards Leningrad. And it's not going to be that great of a war of attrition because we do definitely have combat superiority in and around this sector, except in this small part of their front where these guards infantry corps have arrived. So this is very strong, but obviously we'll displace that and not attack it head on. They do have a river to their benefit, but we did push the 57th, 56th Panzer Corps over the river, and I highly unlikely they will dislodge 3 Panzer divisions. Well, 2 Panzer and 1 motorized. So let's move further south down from Pskov. No change here, really. The Soviets are withdrawing here and there, and we're just playing catch up. if you look at the front, yeah, it's starting to straighten. Army Group North is catching up with the rest of the front. So let's look down here at Velikai Luki, where there's been action. The Germans continuously attack with these strong infantry divisions we have available to us, pushing back the Soviets. At one point, they had pressed forward a little bit, but now we're getting the upper hand. And this elbow, this bend that's been there forever, is starting to straighten out. And we're threatening an encirclement. The 2nd SS Panzer Corps has made it into the line, and we're starting to make it an SS only. Thinking about making it an SS only Panzer Corps. Bring up maybe because the Das Reich has arrived, and check this out, very cool. LAH, apologies, has arrived as well, now upgraded to a Panzer Grenadier division. So the 1st SS is going to be attached to 2nd SS Panzer Corps as well. And yeah, just mention as well, look at that, 2 more infantry divisions, full infantry divisions. We are going to be jacked in 1943. The Wehrmacht is going to be very strong, very powerful in 1943 in comparison to Soviets. I'm feeling it. I really feel that way. So looking around Smolensk, we're looking to start building up forces in preparation for operations to commence in Army Group Center's area of operations, where it's been relatively quiet for quite a while. And look at this. The Soviets are withdrawing significantly, 30, 40 miles, 50 miles here and there. And we're trying to catch up. And they left this straggler here. We'll encircle them. We're not in any rush, really, in this sector, but just getting prepared for what might be the area for an offensive operation later in 1943. We are going to flesh out the 2nd SS Panzer Corps and also bring up 1 or 2 more Panzer Corps from the south, where really Army Group Center has been stripped of all of their armor except where we were conducting some ops down by Arel and Bryansk, and we still have them in Kursk. We still have them on the rails here. I didn't commit them. I was thinking of trying to break through here, but it would be to no real advantage. We're pressing in on Kursk, and I may commit them in the next week or two just to get them close to the line and ready so that I don't have to position them in the mud. But they are really resting, getting strong, all in the 90s, recuperating, refitting, so that is excellent. All right, so let's talk about Arel and Kursk. Soviets are starting to build up some forces. You see, hexes, 2 divisions high, and then some forces behind. So they are starting to strengthen this part of the front. What's going on here? Not so sure. We got to catch up to the front and come adjacent to them, but it looks like they're assembling some forces. So Soviets are trying to reconstitute themselves and also be ready for whatever the Germans are going to throw at them in 1943. So Arel pressing forward, south of Arel, this jagged part of the front where we're trying to inch our way forward and get some favorable combat resolutions against these isolated Soviet formations where we route them fairly often. We had some more routes, or was that the turn before? Oh, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 more, and then 1 more down here. So that is good news for the Germans. And then south of Kursk, establishing that defensive line down to Kharkov and south of Kharkov as well, putting pressure on in sectors along the front where we can have that combat superiority, force cracks in the Soviets' line, give them concern, things to consider, and have to adjust their forces in these pressure points along the front. So south of Kharkov, still a defensive line, and then where we had the bulk of our Panzer Corps some of them have been pulled out of the line, but those two Panzer Corps that did remain and were stationary for maybe a week or two, resting and refitting, they sprung into action and ruptured the Soviets' line again, threatening Stalino. Stalino is the objective in two places. A rupture here and here. Maybe not a breakthrough, but definitely strong forces bearing down on the Soviets in this sector and in the south. Threatening an encirclement of these Soviet forces should we direct a few of our mobile divisions down to the Sea of Azov, and once again getting a little encirclement there. And 11th Army, these amazing infantry corps, very strong, finally making it to the front. They were down, further in the south, by the Crimea. They are finally making their way back to the front where the action is, as well as this 54th Corps helped out the Romanians finish off the Soviets, where we got the bulk of the casualties. This small pocket was finished off, as well as this one here. The 3rd Panzer Corps, as well as, the 39th Panzer Corps, were all the way down here towards the Crimea. We finally moved them up once the ground solidified, mud was gone. We drove them up. I really would have preferred to rail them, but we are making progress in certain places with our manually controlled railroad engineers to get some railheads. So they should all be now on axis rails. So in the subsequent turns coming up, moving into February, one or two of these Panzer Corps will be moved north to be assigned to Army Group Center. So finally, they are out of the muck and out of all this swirling battle that took place as we fought down from Dnipropetrovsk down to Zaporozhye, and then the encirclement here and the encirclement here. So they have been at it. These Panzer Corps have been at it the whole time. They are resting and refitting now, and we're going to find a good spot for them. These Panzer Corps, no rest for the wicked. They did have a couple of weeks off, but now they are in action, and the objective is Stalino for the rest of let's see, the winter, we can say, which would be 5 weeks. These forces will be in action, offensive operations, pressing forward to Stalino. Likewise, we will continue offensive operations in and around Leningrad, where Army Group North is coming online with all their forces, bearing down on the Soviets, finding weak spots, and grinding towards Leningrad, keeping the threat on, tying up Soviet forces here. So that is the situation report for the past 2 turns. Kind of a subdued span of action the past 2 weeks. Some successes down in the south and also here, Army Group North, but it was a lot of cleanup and getting our forces arrayed and back to the front to continue operations into February. I think it's time for next turn. Will there be more withdrawals along the front for the Soviets? They are marshaling some forces in certain parts of the front where we may see some 9 to 12 Soviet formations attacking, localized attacks. No. Well, winter's almost over, so not expecting a Soviet winter offensive. We've had the initiative the whole time, dealt some serious damage to the Soviets. I think they're just prepping themselves, girding themselves for 1943 when the weather breaks and spring and summer arrive. They're really pushing in infantry corps there. Probably just a delay. Oh, attacking. Yeah, it's looking like our axis of advance is going to be a little south in our Regroup force aerial operations. As I say, here we go. Yep. Some places starting to build up their forces. Took a lot of losses, but here and there. That's nice. It's a group of Soviet tank formations to circle. What is this? Ooh. Could make him pay for that. That's going to be interesting to see once everything's rendered on the map. It's like a bunch of Soviet. What was I saying, huh? Did I jinx myself? A little mini Soviet counteroffensive. Here we go, getting bombed again. At least Tallinn's not attacking back. There it is. Well, look at it. It's a lot of bombs. There it is. Oh, I can't wait to see that. What are they doing? How can we take advantage? There it is. Huh. Seriously, this is a lot of bombs. Finally done. What are they doing? Pulling back there, but there. Oh! Did I fail to mention that we took Belgorod? I believe it was Belgorod. Who are they supplying there? Oh yeah. What are those two bands of tank corps doing there? Oh man. snow. Let's free chicken. I like it. Well under 20. Soviets, yeah, kind of a mediocre turn for them, though interesting movement. Let's check that out. Let's check the weather first. Blizzard, blizzard, snow. Ooh. How far north are we, though? Into the North Soviet zone. Well, you can see it right here. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see what's going on. What kind of shenanigans are happening? Didn't it look a lot worse here because our forces weren't rendered? Oh, here it is. What are they doing? Did we really overlook this? Did I not have that covered? Well, that's, I guess it's an oversight that will play into our hands. Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right, no change here. And no presence coming out of the Crimea for the Soviets. The Romanians, that is their job. At least the bulk of their forces will shut off the Crimea. I believe they can do that on their own. And that's fascinating what they're trying to do. And also, oh yeah, that one was a leftover, but what on earth are they trying to do? I don't know. No. Well, that's kind of interesting. And did they start to move west? Yeah, I think they started to move west after they assembled. Moving out of trouble here. Belakai Luki. Oh, they moved all adjacent again. And they made that one attack here. Where was it? Right here. They did not attempt to dislodge our bridgehead. And we will finish off these Soviets here. And try to take Tallinn again. All right, so that was the Soviets' turn. Some interesting decisions on their part. They have been doing that, though, you know, isolating their own forces behind our lines with no clear objective or purpose. So we'll tidy up these little issues and press on. Most of the attacks going to be in Army Group South sector and also Army Group North, whereas Army Group Center is going to be quiet again. I predict we'll continue to assemble, building up 2nd SS Panzer Corps. We have our full rail capacity again, and we're taking advantage of that to, oh yeah, last turn I did bring up a motorized division to attach to 30th Corps. I'll probably do that again to build up 30th Panzer, which will be part of Army Group Center. And also I did rail the 1st SS Motorized, which is going to come up and attach itself to 2nd SS Panzer. All right. So we're going to end the video here. More to be done for the Germans. First week of Feb, about a month left. Of offensive operations. March could be snow. We could have some snow turns, so we'll take advantage of that as well. We'll attack for as long as we can until mud hits. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is First Fire, non-assault move out.